to the Extra Pass podcast presented by Melbourne United. I'm your host, Ben Hopkins, joined as always by my co-host, Adam Ballinger. Balls, how are you today?
I'm doing pretty good, getting over a cold, but it's wonderful to be back. This is our 5th episode, and we're looking to improve every day. So this is going to be our best. Yeah, I'm calling it from the start.
Well, very exciting because joined by a man you're intimately familiar with from your playing days, Melbourne United legend, Chris Goulding. Chris, how are you, mate?
I'm great. I'm a little concerned at my friend here. I'm thankful that he could come in and pull himself out of bed after this horrific man flu.
I tough it out. You know, like when we played together, I never missed a day ever. No days off. Didn't matter if I was sick. Played through everything. So being here is nothing. But yeah, you're right. It's kind of, I don't want to be, don't call me a hero, but close.
Thanks, man.
Well, no, it's fantastic to have you here, Chris. It's been a busy off season for you. Obviously, you know, had a bit of time playing in Paris and then just went back over there for Paris Summer Jam. What was that like?
Jump straight in, Ben. Jump straight in. Straight into the questions. So we went back to K54. We took the Perro Summer Jam elite team over. The first time that an Australian team has competed in that event. Being really familiar with what's cool in the street ball world, Balls. I'm sure you know about K54.
I don't at all. I've never heard of this. So I'm learning too.
It's essentially the biggest street ball tournament in the world, sponsored by Jordan Brand. It's been going for 20 years, so it was their 20th anniversary. And to have an Australian team represent there was really big for the guys at Perro Summer Jam, big for Foot Locker Australia and Nike Australia as well. So it was cool to be a part of that and sort of see what goes on at a street ball tournament, because I haven't really played too much street ball in my time. Maybe in the back end of my career I'll do a little more, but yeah, really quick trip, but great to get back to Paris and experience that city again.
Yeah, Balls, you a bit cut. You didn't get an invite. I mean, Chris is playing. Surely they could have used a shooter.
No. I cannot play competitive basketball anymore. But yeah, I didn't grow up in the streets. I wasn't much into street ball. I grew up on the side of barns and dirt roads mostly. But and one was big. Do they still do all the and one moves? Like, do they try to get that stuff in there anymore? Like there was bouncing off people's heads and stuff.
Nah,
like
not really. No,
so
it was pretty competitive. The team that won it, like, they had guys that had played in the NBA, that were on the French national team currently. You know, guys that played in the Euro League. So yeah, it was pretty competitive basketball, and yeah, the French team was pretty impressive. They won the final by like 30 points.
So you went out there to play, then you went back. You came home and went back.
Yeah, man.
Jeez, he's a traveling man. How was it when you were playing out there? I mean, you know, coming at the end of a season, going straight out there and jumping onto another team and playing. How many months in a row did you play, and did you burn out a little bit by the end, or was it still fun?
It was definitely fun. I mean, we did our season, whatever that was, September, October through February this year. So it was a really short season by Melbourne United standards. You know, we generally like to make playoffs and push as deep as we can in there. So to be finished on the 5th of February was something that we hadn't experienced in a long time. So it allowed, you know, a lot of us guys to explore the possibility of playing overseas. And for me, I was lucky enough to go to Paris with Will Weaver, who was an assistant coach for the Boomers for many years, many campaigns, coached Sydney for a year or two. Yeah, so that familiarity made it a really easy transition for me. You know, I joke, you don't have to go in and prove to some crazy coach that you can play. Like, oftentimes when you just rock up,
they know what you do, and you just got to go do that.
Yeah, so oftentimes you rock up, and it's like the first few practices is like, does this guy even think I can play, or whatever it was? There was none of that. Will was super easy and just said, come in, do what you do, and let the ball fly. If it goes in, we'll keep getting you more shots. If it doesn't, that's all good. We'll find someone else and sit your ass on the bench. So I ended up playing, I don't know, I want to say like maybe 15-ish minutes a game off the bench. Awesome to get back to European basketball. It had been a long time since I'd experienced it, and had a very unsuccessful stint in Torino the last time I went, I think, which is in 2016. So good to get back over there with a good group of guys, and take a team from, we were like bordering on relegation when I got there. You know, we had a pretty tough loss my first game, and everyone was just like, all right, we just need to stay in the league.
Yeah.
You know, we need to stay in this league. We don't care what else happens. Let's just not get relegated. And then, you know, we build a couple of wins off that, and the playoff picture becomes real. And you take that momentum for the last few games of the season, got some good wins, but ultimately came up one game short, eerily similar to what happened here at United. So overall, a great experience. Thankful to Will, thankful to Paris. A lot of fun from the basketball standpoint, but the personal standpoint as well. Being there with my wife and daughter in Paris for 3 months was such a cool experience that I think we'll always remember.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I did the same. I went over, kind of did the same thing to Israel, played on a team. It was the same thing. They were trying not to make relegation. Got me over there, which was a good move. First month and a half was awesome. Second month and a half, I was so over it, burnt out. They weren't paying us. Like, you know, it was just like, get me out of here. But you can't go. And I was just over there on my own. We finished second to last or last or whatever, so we still had to play in the play downs. So you still can't leave. The season's over. You didn't make the playoffs, but you had to play the play downs. And we had a 5-game series against this team called Holon.
So last versus second last 5-game series.
And it was awful. And we went 5 games, and we ended up losing the final game, and they got relegated.
So you got relegated.
Well, not me personally. I got to leave.
You can't be the guy that they bring in to not get relegated.
We
and
did well
relegated.
at the start. Anyways,
If
it was
that's
devastating.
you,
They were devastated at the end of that game. Like the coaches and the players were just so bummed out. But they weren't paying us either. It was not a good environment.
You were just like, see you later.
Well, I was just like, yeah, I feel sorry for you guys.
So what? Just because they didn't pay, you didn't care about the team.
No, I
cared.
I cared. It just wasn't much
care
to
about
do.
the city.
I cared about the city. Love that place. Israel
What city was it?
Meshed. I forgot the city.
Google.
But the team that we played was Holon, and we played there, and it was like, you know, like the stereotypical fans up both sides. There was like a whole group of like teenage kids smoking with their shirts off. One kid found out my name, and I was like, oh, because you're lonely over there. Like, it gets lonely. You're like, oh, somebody knows me here. And I turn around, and he's Ballinger. And he turn around, and he's got 2 fingers up. You can guess which 2. And he just lets out a F you right to my face. And I turned back around, I'm like, oh, my God. That was rough, but yeah.
So if we Google Adam Ballinger, we can find the
Israel,
team.
the league.
What
We were
else would
good.
we find if we Googled Adam Ballinger?
Just a lot of stuff.
Anything
There's
with
like
Hakeem Warwick.
100. Oh, yeah. This, like we said, this isn't about me. This is about you.
But I was in the same situation in Italy, brought in to avoid relegation. I think I averaged like 1.4 points per game.
Yeah, you got it. If you don't get shots, what are you supposed to do?
We avoided relegation.
Oh,
so
nice.
That's all that matters.
Nice.
It's all good.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on, because obviously not something we have in Australia and any of our big pro leagues, but the whole promotion relegation system. I love it. Like, I think it's awesome just to, you know, reward teams that are doing well at the lower level, but also keep teams accountable.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's it's very foreign to our thinking here. You know, oftentimes everyone wants everyone to be even, and you know, the big clubs and the small clubs, people don't believe in that. Everyone should be the same, and everyone gets a fighting chance, and it's all beautiful, which is great. But you know, the reality is, like in Europe, there's teams that will be fighting for the bottom every single year because of budgetary constraints, and there's teams that will be in the top every single year because of their budget, and that's just the reality of professional sports over there. So I like it. The investment from not just the players, but the team, as Ball said, the coaches, people are crying. When I was in Turin, they brought in the members and people from the club, and we had to sit down and they would tell us their sob stories about what would happen if we got relegated.
Yeah. Oh my
God. Well, my business relies on this, and it's like, oh my God, it's just such a completely different culture around their sport. So I like it, but I think it's pretty far-fetched to think that we could bring it in here.
Yeah, I know. It would be, it's just a different thing. I also think it's more difficult to do, or it's a lot different when there's a salary cap in place, because in a lot of those places there's no salary cap, and it's just, if you got the budget, you're on top.
Yeah, and I think they just brought in, well, they just announced that they're going to bring in a salary cap for the French league, and everyone was just like, "This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of." So, the big teams, Monaco, Asvel, eventually, we hope Paris will be one of those top tier teams. I don't think they were too happy with the salary cap announcement, but it's still a few years away. And I was speaking to some people, and they were just like, "It's not coming in. Like, that's not happening."
Well, we're going to take a quick break, listen to some ads, and then get into a little bit about this team closer to home, a bit about the team we all love, Melbourne United, and we'll be right back after this break.
Want to stay up to date with everything happening at Melbourne United? Download the Melbourne United app today. Filled with videos, audio and articles about your favourite team. It's the one-stop shop for everything Melbourne United. Download the Melbourne United app via the App Store on iOS or the Google Play Store on Android.
And we're back on the extra pass with Chris Goulding.
Hey,
Balls just
talk
loving it
to me
here.
about brainstorming extra pass. How did that come up?
I was out of the office, but that's a good name.
I was going to say, I haven't seen you do an extra pass in a 20-year career.
I'm not. They don't
I'll
pay
be
me
wide
to-
open in the corner. Contested mid-range jumper.
Contested, it goes in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never said that.
They don't
Adam.
pay me to pass.
They didn't pay you at all in Israel.
They did for a little bit.
We went through a lot of names. There's unsurprisingly, we've gotten into the podcast game a little bit late, and all the good names are taken.
It's a flooded market.
I hadn't really heard of too many people doing podcasts before this. So hopefully this makes some waves.
10 years late.
Yeah, I know. We're really looking to smash the marketplace. But I want to get in a bit about, the team that we're putting together. Obviously, guys have started filtering in who are playing overseas, playing in college, and the team's really sort of starting to get together here at Hoop City. Take us through a bit about what you've seen from this team and I guess your excitement as we really get stuck into preseason.
Yeah. There's been a slow trickle of new guys. I think probably Tanner's been here the longest. Fellow Extra Pass alum.
Yeah, he's done. We've had him on.
Yeah, he came in the change room complaining.
Well, he was an early one. We weren't as good then.
Tanner's probably been here the longest, the last couple of weeks. Flynn Cameron's been in the gym. Kyle Bowen came in this week. So, yeah, getting the new guys in and just getting them in here to Hoop City, making them feel a part of it. And for the most part, like, super impressive. And I think that's the route that the coaches and the front office have gone down, especially this off season is, just getting impressive young men to come and be a part of our team and our club. And, the competitive guys, I've noticed that we've been doing some stuff on court and super competitive, which we love. And I'm really impressed. It's early days, but you get guys that are coming straight out of college. They're hungry. It's a new challenge for them. The same with Tanner, a change of scenery, a few injuries the past couple years, and I think he's really determined to just get out there and show what he can do at NBL level. And early days, but we have a lot of confidence in him coming in and being a great contributor for us. He's playing really well. He's shooting the ball really well at the moment in practice. So we want to see that continue, and I'm sure we'll see more of that once the young guys keep trickling in. And we just want a really solid competitive environment here. When you come to work every day at Hoop City, let's go lock in. Let's compete for however long we're here, and after that, let's have a bit of fun, joke around. But that on-court competitive part, we really want to emphasize that, and competing in the right way as well. It's all good to say you're a competitor and this and that, but like, let's go out there and compete the right way that we know that if it's done correctly is going to help us win games. And I think we got guys that are coming into the club this year that that really want to contribute to that.
Yeah. How important is that as an existing guy, who's been with the team, having new guys come in? How important is it that when they come in, like you said, that they aren't timid and they are competing and they're really willing to give it a good crack? Because I can anticipate, or I can imagine, if someone comes in and maybe they could be a bit timid, a bit afraid to step on someone's toes, or is that something you don't encounter much in a professional environment?
It's something, as I've got older, it's something I've realised is very much on us as a club and the front office and the coaches and the players that are considered leaders, to make an environment where guys come in and can contribute and feel confident. You know, we always see guys, whether it be at NBL 1 level or college level, whatever it is, you see them as a certain type of player. And oftentimes when they come into a professional environment, you don't see the same player. So I think we want to be really conscious of the fact that, you know, we're getting guys that can really play and have proven that they can play a certain style, and are going to fit our roles really well. We need to foster an environment that they feel confident to come in and just bang from the get-go, be the player that they know they are. There's nothing worse, and I've been in this situation where, you know, you feel like you could be helping, more, but you just don't have that confidence level or whatever it may be, and you're just not producing the way that you feel you can. So for the most part, we really want to give guys a platform to come in and help and contribute and produce and try and get back to our winning ways.
Yeah, absolutely. And one guy that I feel like I've noticed just watching some of the practices since he's been here, Flynn Cameron, that's been really impressive, really getting stuck into it. Obviously, you go a fair way back with him and his dad, Gold Coast days. I remember speaking to Flynn when he signed, and he said he's got memories as a little kid running around on the court. Is that sort of surreal for you, seeing, you know, this kid that was a little kid running around at practice, now he's my teammate?
Yeah. Yeah, it was weird when he came in the gym. Weird. Like, he's bigger than me. He's throwing around big weights in the gym, and I'm like, I'm starting to wheel through, you know, my ex-teammates' kids. Like, like it's cool in a sense, but also it's a little morbid, you know, like this could be over for me soon.
Well, not morbid.
But yeah, he's been great, and he's a competitor. As I said again, we're trying to foster this competitive environment, and he just came in from day one and just competed and just, you know, was just trying to win and was getting stuck in defensively and, you know, taking his shots and getting to the rim and just playing as a confident young kid should. So yeah, really excited to see how he progresses throughout his professional journey, because yeah, he's got all the tools.
So how old is he? And how in Gold Coast you were real young, right? How old are you in Gold Coast?
19, 20.
Yeah, that's young.
21, yeah.
That's young. How old is he now?
I think he's
40s.
20.
He'd be like 20, 22.
I think he's 22.
22, so.
Definitely different builds on you two when you were 19 and 20.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, we got different builds now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Flynn and Tobias, they would have been young, maybe like, I'm guessing 7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
However, you know, running around like we see, you know, Charlie Newley now, like he was. Those boys were like that when I was up at the Gold Coast, and yeah, it's weird, man, but it's cool at the same point. You know, like it kind of makes me thankful about my career, while also, yeah, as I said before, knowing that it doesn't last forever.
Age.
But
Age creeps up on you.
Let's see how many more, you know, of my ex-teammates' kids I can end up being teammates with. What are your boys doing? They ready?
14. They're about to turn 14 and 11. So
14.
You got a little ways.
It's all right. I'm not going
Hopefully
anywhere.
you still stay around.
Get him in young. Well, you're the first of Balls' teammates that we've had on the show.
There's not many. There's not many teammates left.
Well, even teammates
Or
or
not ones that are
competitors.
willing to talk.
No.
Still,
Well,
yeah. Well, that we'd want on the pod. It's an exclusive. Like we said, this is the 5th one. We're not going to just have everybody on here.
Well, I need to hear some Ball stories. I heard you guys were roommates at the Tigers, and obviously you went against each other, you know, a bit when you weren't teammates. I just need to hear some Ball stories, because it's all well and good me just shooting you questions, but I think Balls is a bit of an enigma on the podcast. Not many people know about him, so can you?
Well, they hadn't heard about it. heard of him.
Yeah, they
Well, I
haven't
think
Googled me yet.
He's got a couple of really big fans from Israel, but apart from that, yeah, I'm not sure.
No, yeah, they're probably like Division 4 now by now.
I will say Balls, you know, like one of the best shooters I've ever played with. Absolutely. I will give you your props there. He could shoot the ball. Like, no joke. He could shoot the ball.
It's a big compliment.
Yeah.
It is coming from one of the best shooters. I'll take that all day long.
I mean,
Clip that. Put that on video. That needs to go on a video.
And then
like,
can we just
now I
pin
need to
that,
send that
pin
around.
that top of your Twitter?
Yeah, I'll put that on my.
So
like I said, on my channels.
I feel like I was like mid to late 20s when we played together.
Well,
maybe like 25.
it would have been about 10 years ago.
Yeah, so I was 24,
Yes.
25.
There was an age gap of about 9 years, but I'd say we hit it off.
But I would say I was a better shooter than you back then.
there we go.
No, I'm serious. I was a better shooter than you back then.
No, what then? What?
I was a better shooter than you back then.
From 3?
Just
No, not
everything.
mid-range. No way.
So for me to give you the props that like you're one of the best I've ever played with,
It's not enough.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, he was a cool teammate, I guess. Like, always tried to hang out with the young guys. Used to try and get us to go play baseball and choose sunflower
home run derby
seeds.
and stuff like that.
Yeah, he'd try and hold home run derbies. Boys would be juiced up, ready to go, maybe have a couple of beers. No, we're not doing that. I've got the rules. We're playing. I was just like, okay, let's go do something fun. But Balls was cool. We always used to go around to his dinner, to his house for dinner. Him and Bianca were really welcoming of us young guys. Any stories? He used to like.
Was he a snorer?
He had pocket money. Like, you're a 35-year-old man with walking around money to go buy comic books.
Yeah. On the road, he'd buy
so on the
comics.
road, he'd be like, all right, I'm going out to go buy some comic books. What is going on here? But I appreciate you. I definitely appreciate you.
We
He
hit
is
it
a bit
off.
of an enigma.
I would consider Chris a good friend. But the problem is, now this is getting kind of deep, is after you retire, once you finish on a team or even within the NBL, it's like once you're out of the club, you're out. Like, there's no way back in. It's kind of like when you graduate high school. Going back to high school isn't the same feeling anymore, or college or something like that. So once you leave, that life is totally different. Like, there's no reason, if you're not on a team, to be hanging out with another guy in a bed on a Tuesday, sitting there all day with nothing to do. You play that night, you're just hanging out all day. You're just sitting there watching cricket on TV.
Yeah.
Just shooting the shit. And it's like, after that, like, you know what's going to happen, but you don't really realize how unique that is in life. After you retire, you think, oh, I'm probably never going to do that again. There's no reason to do that anymore.
Yeah, and like as roommates on the road, you're in a room this big. There's 2 beds, 1 bathroom. It's
One
like,
TV.
yeah, like you learn things and find out things about a man that's 10 years older than you that you shouldn't, or you probably never.
No, I got some questions
expect.
for you later about that situation. If you want to retract some of the things you used to say to me back then, now that you're an older guy with kids.
Yeah, probably. But good roommate. I've had some shockers. He was a good roommate.
Was there ever a battle being the one TV on, someone wanted to watch something, the other one wanted to watch the other thing?
No, the only thing I remember, he always used to like the bed near the desk. You would always take the bed next to the desk because you
to the window.
Yeah, because you would like to do your drawing.
Yeah.
And all
I
that
didn't
sort of
really.
stuff.
Yeah, that's when
So
I first started.
If the
drawing.
bed near the window was near the desk, I was like, this ain't good for me.
So you're a bed near the window guy.
I was the further away bed now. Now I room by myself because I don't need to be dealing with that.
Do you really? Damn,
Yeah.
that is big time. That's NBL's come a long way. No one ever did that back when I was young. One guy, Darnell Me, was the only guy that ever did that. Jeez, that's huge. That's clout. Like, that's. I didn't know you had it like that.
Yeah, man.
Dang, that's nice.
Well,
No more roommates.
You just
No, we have roommates, but if you want to just room by yourself, like, it's on you just to
also do
organize
that.
it.
Huh, all right.
There you go.
learn something new every day.
Yeah, you did.
Dip into your walking around money.
Yeah,
and
no, exactly.
away you go.
Well, it means you can't buy a comic book.
Yeah. What's your comic book budget like after that?
Well, I want to get into some of those questions that Balls wanted to ask you. So we're going to take one more quick break and then come back with Fast 5 with Balls.
Melbourne United memberships are on sale now. Lock in your seat for the most exciting show in Australian sport and guarantee you're there for every highlight across this next season. To find out more, go to membership.melbourneutd.com.au.
And we're back on the Extra Pass presented by Melbourne United. It's time for everyone's favourite segment. It's Fast 5 with Balls.
Ready?
This is Fast 5 with Balls.
Been waiting for this the whole time. Now we're on to the fun stuff. Yeah, they're hard hitting, so hope you're ready.
All right, you ready for these?
Yeah, man.
Okay. Like I said, we know each other, so I've got some questions, but I'm not trying to, it's not going to be too crazy. All right. What I've noticed now from watching practice every now and then from up above while I'm doing my work, if I can pull myself away from my desk every now and then, it's swamped usually, but one thing has changed. A lot of players do it. You do it every time. Why now do you practice even if it's hot out? You're in full sweatpants and like a hoodie and like, doesn't that drive you nuts? Like, I don't know how anyone does that. And it's like everybody does it now.
No, it doesn't drive me nuts. For the most part, all the time, I'll pretty much wear tracksuit pants.
Yeah,
I just find that comfortable.
Don't they? By the end of it, don't you have sweat? Aren't they soaked with sweat, or you don't sweat as much?
Yeah, I sweat, but I mean, even if I was wearing shorts, they'd be sweaty. So
yeah, but like, it's hot. Like the sweat gets caught, and like you got heavy material. I just don't know. And as a shooter, I would never like to like long sleeves and all that. Always bothered me.
That's
like,
why I said you were one of the best shooters I played with.
You got like 3
Things like
sweatshirts
that
on just for the fun of it.
Things like that.
Is
Can't
it
bother
too
me.
easy for you? And you're just
I don't really like unless it's really like a really cold Melbourne winter's day. I won't train in a hoodie, but
yeah, I guess a lot of
sweatpants. Yeah,
guys-
for sure.
I'm just surprised. Yeah, a lot of guys. So there's no reason other than it just feels better.
I'm just comfortable with it. That's how I like to train. Is that okay?
I mean, it's okay. It just looks weird to me. But I know you're not. I know you're not.
Well,
concerned.
I
You haven't
mean,
asked me yet
your
like, what you
crew
should wear for
socks,
practice.
Long baggy shorts and like 20-year-old
Yeah,
Nikes.
I only
looked
ever
weird
wore
to me.
shorts, tank, socks, and shoes. That's it. And tight. I never even put on skins. But that we're not. Like I said, we're not talking about me. This is not my podcast.
Keep talking about you.
All right. Here's the second one. Good answer. There's no reason why, just for the fun of it, I guess. All right, you had a pretty unique pathway into the NBL, right? Like you wouldn't say you were highly touted or anything like that. You just kind of snuck in. I do recall, is this true? Your first team was in Perth, is that right?
My first team was the Brisbane Bullets, and then they folded, and I went to Perth.
And then you went to Perth. So you've been like young, and I remember you saying you lived with the coach and basically just skateboarded at the like the local skate ramp. You're like a skate rat, just playing a little bit of basketball on the side. I just want to know, when's the last time you skateboarded?
No,
And could you ollie back then? Could you ollie?
of course.
You could. Oh, I could never ollie
No,
ever.
that is false.
No, that
You're
you said
making
that.
things up. I
You
did
lived
not
with
live
the
with a coach.
Yeah, you did.
No, I didn't. I mean, okay. When I first moved there,
Yeah, I'm saying,
I
like, this
stayed
is-
with the coach for a
Yeah,
week
a
or
little
so.
bit,
Connor
okay.
Henry.
Connor
It's my
Henry.
boy.
Yeah.
Shout out.
Played with Bird.
We went. He had a son, Jacob, and he used to
guys were
skateboard a little
skate
bit.
bros.
But I didn't take my skateboard to Perth so I could
Just borrowed
skate
his.
around.
You just borrowed his.
Like, I was
Did he have
just-
2 or? No, skateboarding's cool.
Did you have to
Potentially
share?
the worst question I've ever
This
been
is
asked.
a good. No, but people need to know. Like you did not. This,
Like
the whole point of
fictitious.
this. No, you,
Like,
you used to go to
not
the skate.
true.
You used to be a skate
Or
rat.
did you or did you not skate while you're in Perth?
I don't know. Potentially, I stepped on a
But that's not a
skateboard
negative
once
thing.
while I was.
You've been
in
to my
Perth.
house before. We've skateboarded. I had a longboard. You skateboarded down the
Yeah.
road a little bit. But no, I just like so you coming into the NBL is way different. Like you weren't highly touted. You just kind of you got on a team and just kind of you had to work your way through. Like just you got a chance here and a chance there, and you just made the most of it when you're on the court, right?
Yeah, I think it was very opportunistic. I was towards the back end of my high school. I started making some representative teams, and I was involved in the Australian under-19s team. With guys like Paddy Mills, AJ Ogilvy, Daniel Johnson. Guys that have had pretty good careers. So I wouldn't say I was unknown, but by that point, I'd sort of started slowly progressing from when I wasn't making those teams to, playing a little bit of ABA, which is now NBL 1, 11th, 12th man, someone got injured or sick. There was an exodus before a road trip, and they were like,
this guy got
This guy.
this skater kid
Yeah,
here.
we'll take
He
this
won't
guy.
leave.
foul trouble.
But then, like,
It's like throw him in. Like, I got to throw this guy in, and then, you know, hit a couple shots.
and then Gold Coast is where you kind of broke through a little bit, right?
A little bit, yeah. Like I was playing a little bit in Perth as a development player. So my first real regular minutes came when I was on the Gold Coast that first year there. So I signed a 3-year deal with the Gold Coast. Played there. After that, they went broke.
Yeah.
It wasn't me.
Just a trailer.
It wasn't me doing all this. I
Yeah.
promise you. Guys like Adam Gibson followed him around, sending clubs broke. Yeah. So, but really, I felt that my basketball kind of progressed the most and took its biggest leaps when I came down to Melbourne.
Yeah, but I would say people that know you now and have seen you play in Melbourne wouldn't have assumed like you just kind of worked your way in. You know, you weren't on a whole bunch of like ones teams, and you weren't making a whole lot of. Yeah.
Not at all. Yeah, but it was kind of cool. It kept me hungry. It kept me wanting to work, and you know, who knows? You just make every team, and you just get in everything when you're a kid or a youngster. Who knows what, you know, habits or what work ethic you have at the back end of that. So I wouldn't change it.
And you could ollie on a skateboard.
Yes.
Okay. See, he says he wasn't a skater, but he could do ollies. Okay, thank you. That was second one. That was the second one of the Fast Five. Now, question number 3. Back then, when we used to talk and hang, you were a big foodie. You still consider yourself a foodie?
Yeah. Yeah.
Back then, your favorite meal was like a hamburger or a cheeseburger, wasn't it? You're a big cheeseburger hamburger guy.
Yeah. I used to like going around and
And you're
critiquing.
like you do like where to go. Yeah. Do you cook now, or are you more just still restaurants?
No, we very much cook. You know, family life. We don't get out as much as we used to eating. That's why, you know, touching back on Paris, it was such a cool opportunity for us as a family. You know, a couple of my passions away from basketball are food and wine, and to sort of go to the epicenter of the world for those things in France was so cool. You know, we did things that, you know, we wouldn't do back here. You know, like we'd take our daughter out, you know, for dinner at nice restaurants and stay out a little later. And, you know, bless her, but her routine was just all out of whack because we kind of treated it as like a holiday as well.
Vacation kind of,
So yeah, but back in Melbourne, we're very much more regimented cooking. So not as much eating out as we used to do, but still very much a passion.
But you still know the spots, like the cool restaurant spots.
More,
you're still tapped into that.
More than you,
you're way
potentially.
more than me.
But I would imagine
is
there's
like
other foodies around.
Grilled
there.
would be a big night out for me.
I'll tell you what is, honestly, one of, if not the best burgers going around is Easy's.
Oh,
Easy's.
Easy's is probably my favorite place to get a burger in Melbourne. It's amazing.
Phenomenal. And like, just no frills, just like, give me a good American style burger if I want it, and bang, Jimmy and the boys at Easy's get it done.
Where's Easy's?
It's in Collingwood.
Nice.
It's a old train carriages on top of a building. It's awesome. It's up like 6 flights of stairs.
I might have to get there.
Bring the family.
I'll try. Yeah, we have to bring
The
all
Extra
of us, all
Pass
5 of us.
podcast sponsored
Well,
by
let's
Easy's.
do a live. We could do a live.
Let's do a live one.
Live. We might have to get you back for that.
Yeah, that'll be my next
You're our
appearance.
meal ticket.
Righto.
Gotta get you. Okay, we're talking about shooting. Now, this is a question you probably can't answer, honestly. But I'd say with shooters, I'm talking about elite shooters, like around the world. Shooting is something that, like, there's a 1% to it that you can't explain. So, like, why? So somebody else that has taken the same amount of reps as you, I mean, you've worked on it tirelessly, but there are other guys around the world and girls who work on their craft tirelessly, and they just aren't that level of shooting. Like, there's that 1% that you cannot, like, you can't teach it. It's just there, in my opinion. And I think that you're one of those type of shooters. I know that you can't answer like what's that 1%. You know, true shooters are kind of like, I've heard a lot of people say like they're kind of weirdos. Like there's something different about them, something different in their head. But what I guess for people listening is a kind of a dumb question, but something people ask: what goes through your head when you're shooting? Like nothing, right?
Yeah.
Or sometimes there's something going through it, but for the most part, like nothing. You want to be like completely like zen, like at peace. When you're putting the
So
ball.
even if like in the lead up to the shot, you have thoughts or whatever it may be, the 0.5, 0.6, whatever it is of a second, or maybe a little longer from start to finish. It's nothing. It's kind of like blank and quiet. And I've had people ask me that a lot. Like, what do you think of when you're shooting the ball? I'm like,
yeah, you just kind of got to trust.
It just
in the
happens.
Ball. Like there's like some faith, and once you let it go, you just have faith in the ball. Like people say, like you're aiming it, like which sounds like you should aim the ball at the rim, but you don't necessarily.
No, but it's weird. Like, I mean, so much of it. Maybe it's as you said, 99% of it is repetition and work. And like, I'm someone that it seems really mundane to just shoot the ball and it goes in, and then if it comes back, just like to continuously do that for however many minutes or whatever it is on end. But that, and it would sound stupid because people would be like, well, doing that would never be boring, you know, like you're making shots, it's awesome. So some people could just sit there and be like, well, could get boring. But even like the mundaneness of just the same ball going up and in non-stop for however many times in a row, I quite enjoy.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm lucky in the fact that, I don't get bored with shooting.
Yeah. No,
And the repetition.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like it always feels good, no matter what, to see the ball go through the hoop.
Yeah.
It's always a good feeling,
Yeah.
even if you accidentally kicked it in. It's like, oh, that was great.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Like I truly think there's like the 1% of you can't teach. Like some people have it, some people don't, and it's just like I don't know. It's like you can't explain it. But I think the best way to put it is like nothing's going through your head. Like you put the work in. You know you're a great shooter. Like. You just don't think about it. You just, for that split second, the ball's in your hands and out. It's a good feeling.
Yeah, and I've seen you out there on the gun, Ben, at Hoop City.
Oh, yeah, I've tried to teach Ben a few.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's not going in.
I don't think
you
he
don't have
has
the
it.
1%.
But even at 99%,
keep trying.
at least I'm trying. If you get to 99, you're still going to be a great shooter.
Yeah.
But.
Well, I mean, great fast 5.
Yeah, that was good, right? That was good 5.
I'd say it's a
out there-
5. I wouldn't say it's a 5.
Well, that's the ironic part. I think people out there are just going to be. This episode's just going to go crazy.
Well, before we let you go, Chris, there's just one last thing I want to ask you. I don't know if you heard in episode 1, we talked a bit about your 50-point game. And Adam Ballinger here claims that the only reason you got
Not
50
the only reason. I
is
just need some
because
credit.
Screen assists and extra passes from him. Can you confirm
Is that
or
what you
deny?
said?
Yeah, just like flare screens, down screens.
Yeah, for sure.
Magnetizing, like the defense was really looking at me for a while.
That one incorrect.
Skip
I'm sure
passes.
there would have been some like really good screens in there for sure. But it's funny, like I remember, I don't know, there was like, I think I led the league in scoring that year. So there was games where I'd had like big amounts of points at halftime or whatever it was.
No big deal.
And almost every time balls would come in and be like, you got to get 50. Be like, like, F it. Get 40. Get 50. Like if I had 25 at halftime, he was like, you better get 50.
I was like, I was the one who told him to get 50, and then you did.
But I think it happened on more than one. It was almost
Yeah,
like
well.
whenever I had a big half, he would just be like, you got to get 50. Like, well, we got to win, but yeah, cool if I can get 50 as well.
No, when you're hot, you're hot. You got to keep. You don't know when that's coming back.
Oh, fantastic. Well, look, thanks so much, Chris, for coming on the episode. We really appreciate it. And, tune in next time to all the fans out there for the next episode of The Extra Pass coming out next week. Thanks a lot, Chris.